Hi guys, let's work on some substitution. So we have done substitution before, but a lot of you guys struggled with this on the test. So here's what we're going to do. On the left side, we have equations with just one variable, and on the right side, we have both equations have two variables. So on the left, one equation has one, the other has two. So if the equation only has one, let me zoom in over here. You're going to choose the equation with only one variable. So let's look at this first one here. We have x equals 3. That's my equation with one variable. So we're going to solve for that variable using inverse operations only if we need to. So because this x does not have anything attached to it, we don't have to do anything with it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the number from step 2, and plug it into one of the given equations. So we're going to take that, we're going to plug it in right there. So we're going to take y equals 5 times 3, plug it in using parentheses. Okay, now we're going to solve for the y. So 5 times 3 is 15, so y equals 15 minus 7. 15 minus 7 is 8, so y equals 8. Our final step down here is to write your answer as an ordered pair. So all you have to do is take the 3 that was given to you for x and the 8 that we solved for. There's your final answer. All right. Now we're going to do the same exact process on this other equation. So again, we're going to choose the equation with one variable, and that is our bottom equation this time, because we have 3y equals 15. Now we're going to solve for that variable, the y. So it's going to have 3y equals 15. We're going to divide by 3 on both sides to get the y by itself. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And that right there cancels out. Now we're going to take the y equals 5 and plug it in for the y, or substitute it into the equation so that we can solve for the x. So we're going to get negative 2x plus 6, plugging in our 5 here, or substituting it in parentheses, equals 18. So 6 times 5 is 30. Now we've finished solving for the x by using inverse operations. So we are currently adding 30, so we need to subtract 30 from both sides. Then we will drop down our negative 2x because we didn't do anything to it. 18 minus 30 is going to be negative 12. Then lastly, we are going to divide by negative 2 because the negative 2 is currently being multiplied by the x. So the inverse operation is to divide. X equals, and then we have negative 12 divided by negative 2. I know that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And 12 divided by 2, I know that that's at 6. So my final answer needs to be in a coordinate pair. So we're going to have 6, 5. So final answers should always be a coordinate pair. All right. Now let's do a little bit more of a complicated one. So we're going to choose one of these two equations to get a variable by itself. So if I'm looking at this top equation, I can see that both variables have a coefficient. So I'm going to look at the second equation. So bottom equation, I can see that my y has a 1 as the coefficient. Remember, if you can't see it, it's a 1. So that means I have less work to do if I solve for the y, because I don't have to divide by anything. So let's do this one and subtract. I'm going to just do it up here. So we're going to subtract 4x because it's currently positive. It's currently being added. So we're going to subtract it from both sides to get the y by itself. We're going to get y equals negative 4x plus 24. So that was step 1. Step 2, we're going to plug in the equation, or the expression that we just got. And I'm going to change plug right there. We're going to say substitute the expression from number 1 into the other given equation using parentheses. So we're going to take this right here and plug it in for this y right here. You're plugging it into the other equation. So here I'm going to use the blue for the top and the red for the bottom. So we're going to have 2x minus 3 times, so the whole expression goes in here. So negative 4x plus 24. Notice that I didn't put y equals, so I don't want the whole equation, I just want the expression. So y equals negative 4x plus 24. That's the whole equation. The expression for y is negative 4x plus 24. That's all we're plugging in. Okay, dropping down the rest of the blue equation, we have equals negative 2. Now we're going to solve for x. We're going to do that by distributing whatever's on the outside of the parentheses. If you have a minus sign that's just outside of it, you distribute the minus sign. If you have a number and it's positive, just distribute the number. But we have negative 3, so we need to distribute that whole thing over. So we're going to drop down our 2x because we're not doing anything with it right now. So negative 3 times negative 4x. A negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 4 is 12. And I just need to keep my x attached to it. Okay. Negative 3 times 24. I know it's going to be a negative. I can't think off the top of my head exactly what that is, so I'm just going to multiply it out. I know I'm going to have a negative number. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry my 1. 3 times 2 is 6, add 1 is 7, so negative 72. And we just drop down the negative 2 from the right side of the equal sign because we didn't do anything to it yet. Now I'm going to combine my like terms, so 2x plus 12x is 14x. Drop down all this, so minus 72 equals negative 2. Now we're going to use the opposite operation. So we're going to add 72 to both sides. We're going to get 14x because we're just dropping that down. We didn't do anything to it. Negative 2 plus 72 is going to be 70. Then we're going to divide by 14 because 14 is being multiplied by the x, so we have to divide to make it be 1, because we want to have a 1x. So we have x equals 70 divided by 4. Again, I don't know that off the top of my, 14. Don't know it off the top of my head, but if I do, I'm going to guess it's going to be a 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7, and I was right. So x is 5. So now we have solved for the variable. We're on that was step 3. Now we're going to take the number answer from step 3. So we're going to take this number right here, x equals 5, and we can plug it into either of the original equations to solve for y. Let's see here. I'm going to do the bottom equation. So we're going to have 2, put in parentheses the 5. Just always put it in parentheses. Don't ever, unless you know it's going to just be that number, It's just a good practice to keep it in parentheses when you're plugging something in. I said I was going to do the bottom one, I think, and I'm doing the top one. Let's redo that, because I wanted to do the bottom one. 4 times 5 plus y equals 24. And actually, I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter which one you go into, so I'm going to do both of them here in a second. So 4 times 5 is 20. Then we're going to subtract 20 from both sides because it is being added. It is positive. So what matters is the sign out here, not the sign here. Okay? If it doesn't have a sign, then it's positive, and you're just going to subtract. So y equals 4. Final answer, I'm going to put it right here, is 5, 4. I'm going to go ahead and show you that you'll get the same answer if you plug it into the top one. So 2 times 5 minus 3y equals negative 2. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10 minus 3y equals negative 2. Inverse operation, because this is technically this is a positive, so we subtract 10 from both sides. We get negative 3y. We're just dropping that down because we didn't do anything to it. Make sure you keep the negative sign with it. Negative 2 minus 10 is negative 12. Remember, if you are subtracting from a negative, you add them and then keep the negative sign. Then we're going to divide by negative 3 because we're currently multiplying by negative 3. And y equals becomes positive because negative divided by a negative is a positive. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Notice that we got the same answer. So we will have 5, 4. So that is how we know that it solves the system, and it goes through the same point. So this is like when we were graphing. All right. At any point, go through and pause. You guys have 6 questions to try here. The first 2 just have the just have an equation that has one variable in it. Okay, so those will be like the ones on the left, on the top. And then down here, these ones, you don't have to do very much work on these 2 because they're both already solved for variables. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and show you that because these are already solved, all you have to do is take one of them. I'm going to take this one and plug it in right here. So I'm going to start this for you. So 2x minus 7 equals negative 2x plus 13. And then you just solve the steps just like we did at the top. Email me if you have any questions on this.